Hi my friends, how are you? I hope everybody's fine. My name is Daniel Villarino. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In the past two videos we were working in the project of the wheelbarrow for Ariel and Jacqueline. In the first one we did the segmented pieces, and then in the second we turned those segmented pieces to make the hub and also the rims for the wheels. Before I go to the project for today, which is going to be some spindle turning, I would like to mention a couple of things. The first is to remind you that on July 7 and July 8 there will be a symposium of wood turning in San Juan, Argentina. I am going to put the information down below in the description regarding telephone numbers, emails, Facebook page, in case you are interested and you can participate. The second thing is that I received from Gord Rock this beautiful sticker. Thank you, Gord. Gord is an excellent wood turner. He lives in Canada and he has very good projects as well as accessories that he uses in his projects. So I recommend you to visit his YouTube page. I'm going to put also the link down below. Now, going to today's project, what I'm going to be doing is some spindle work. I'm going to be working on the spokes that connect the hub to the rims, and if I have some time I will also do the handle and the rear legs of the wheelbarrow. So that's today's project. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get to work. This is the bit I use to make the perforations both in the hubs and the rims. I take its measure in the caliper. I need to cut pieces 4 inches and 3/4 long. I verified that I got the exact measure before cutting the remaining 15 cylinders. I locate the centers on the circular faces of the cylinders and I mark them with a center punch. I will prepare a small jig to ease the marking of the 16 pieces for the spokes. According to the diagram, I mark all the important points for the spoke, including the 2 ends. Because I will perforate with a hand drill, and I do not trust the perforations will be perfectly perpendicular, on the side I made the measures, I mark and perforate pilot holes. Now, on the other side, I put in the screws. Their tips will come out on the side I made the markings, and that way I make sure that these tips will be at the distances I wanted. For one of the central screws I had to select a longer one because their heads were interfering with each other, and this way I have a small handle for the jig. I marked some arrows to remind myself of aligning the jig always in the same way. Just in case, I measure to make sure that the screw tips are located at the correct measures. I locate the first cylinder between centers. I align the screws on the ends with the ends of the cylinder and I press to mark. With the measure that I took in the caliper at the beginning, I reduced the diameter on both ends to achieve a nice fit within the perforations in the hubs and the rims. For this particular spoke, I made the large bits using the skew chisel, but later I realized that I could go a bit faster using a spindle gouge. I sand first with 120 grit and then with 240. I do not sand any finer since I have to stain the wood, which will raise the grain, and I have to apply also spar urethane, since this will be exposed to the weather. So I reserve the finer sandpaper for the last finishes. this step center has a large diameter, so I turn around the piece to be able to eliminate the ring on the end. This time I make the beads with the spindle gouge. And so I made 16 spokes. Now I will work on the axis that connects both wheels. The axis will be 2 feet 3 inches and 1/4 long, approximately 692 millimeters. The thick part will be almost 2 inches, about 51 millimeters. At each end I had to make a section of 7 inches or 178 millimeters long with a diameter of 1 inch and 5/8, that is about 41 millimeters. With the parting tool, I reduced the diameter to 1 inch and 5/8 in both extremes and in the middle to have a reference up to where I have to cut with a skew chisel. Being such a long piece, the wood is flexing some in the middle, and this generates a characteristic helicoidal pattern that I do not know if you can see in the image. It will be convenient to assemble the steady rest that gave me my friends from Hola to keep working. I verify that the axis fits well inside the hub. I repeat the process in the other end. I work in the rest of the axis, reducing it only what is necessary to make it a perfect cylinder. I am going to work now in the legs. They are 1 feet, 1 inch and 1/16 tall. That is about 332 millimeters. On one end I need to make a tenon 3/8 of an inch long with a diameter of 1 inch. The maximum diameter for the bead is going to be 1.5 inches. Once again, I use the parting tool to make some reference recesses for the skew chisel cuts. I use the point of the skew to define the end of the small bead, and then I work in making half a V-cut for the end of the large bead. Then, with the spindle gouge, I shape the beads. The central element of the leg is two beads connected by a long cove. I am working now on the wheelbarrow handle. The elements are similar to the ones seen before, so I will speed up a good portion of the film. As I get farther and farther away from the drive center, the helical pattern generated by the wood flexion becomes more and more visible, and that despite the skew being super sharp. We need once again to use the steady rest. The steady rest helps reducing the flexion and the cuts are much better. The problem is that makes us to work in small sections and that sometimes gets in the middle of the tool movement, but it is a question of getting used and being careful. The other problem is that marking by sections in the element that I am working now, which is two large beads connected by a long cove, to give a more ergonomic place for the hand, I made a mistake. Sorry, I meant to say I had a design modification opportunity, and I made it shorter than I planned. I was lucky, I realized the mistake soon after, and copied the design beginning from the other end so that it would be symmetrical. All in all, I just added a couple extra beads in the center. Despite the shortening, it still feels comfortable for the hand. Here you can see that in the center, instead of 3 large beads connected by smaller 1/4 inch beads, I ended up with 4 large beads connected by 1/4 inch beads, except for the one right in the middle, which is 1/2 inch in thickness. As I said before, a design change opportunity. Okay, my friends, I finished making all the spindle turnings required for this project, including the 16 spokes. You can see one of them here. I already stained this one. Ariel mentioned to me that he liked a darker color rather than the natural pine or maple colors, so I use chestnut to stain it, and it will require some protection, so I will give it polyurethane because it's going to be exposed to the weather. So we have the 16 spokes, then we have the axis. Not a difficult turning, except for the fact that I had some flexing in the middle and required the use of the steady rest to avoid that. But besides that, very simple. Then we have the two legs, you can see here. They repeat the elements found in the spokes, and they include also this another element, which is two beads connected by a long cove, which we will see again in the handle here. Okay, in the handle, as I mentioned before, I had a design change opportunity. In other words, I made a mistake and I made this element shorter than it should have been. The solution was either to throw this away and begin from scratch. The other thing, that was what I ended up doing, was to repeat these elements exactly on the other side to keep the symmetry, and in the middle there was supposed to be only 3 large beads connected by 1/4 inch beads between them, and finally we have 4, and they are connected also by 1/4 inch except for the one in the middle, which is 1/2 inch, but the thing is that that keeps the symmetry, so it looks pretty nice anyway. So the handle is ready, and with that we went a little long on this video, so I will finish it around here. We still have much work to do. We have to do the reinforcement rings out of plywood, and I also had to separate the rims that were joined with the paper joints. I don't know if you remember that. Assemble the wheels. We have some work of assembling for the different pieces for the wheelbarrow. So I believe there will be a 4th part and maybe a 5th one. If this keeps going like this, I will have a complete season and I will end up selling it to Netflix. But in any case, in the comments of previous videos, some of the subscribers were anxious to know how the paper joints were going to work, and I won't leave you with a cliffhanger. I will tell you that they work pretty well actually. You can see one of the segments here that is already separated. The paper broke clean, leaving incredible paper on both sides. I just sanded whatever remained there. I give some stain to this piece already, and you can see here the other 3 pieces that are already separated. I just keep them together with the clamps so I don't forget the placement where they were connected when I do the assembly of the wheels. So for the next video we will be working on that, and then we have the assembly of the whole wheelbarrow. Before leaving, I would like to show you some pictures that were sent by a subscriber of the channel. Andres from Mallorca, Spain, sent me images of several segmented pieces he made, using mainly Iroko, but also oak, cherry and ash. Great work, Andres. Andres also has a YouTube channel. I will put the link below in the description. Okay, I hope you enjoyed these pictures. I also hope you enjoyed this video. If that's the case, please don't forget to click on the like button below, make comments, and if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do so. And it will be until the next one. Cheers!